Start with the easy stuff, the definition of agentic AI, and it's really simple. It's the autonomous AI systems that are capable of independently achieving the complex objectives without human intervention. That's a mouthful. Simply put, these things, you set them and forget them. Now, that doesn't mean that you can leave them unattended. It just means that it's really excellent at repetitive tasking. It's really excellent at understanding reliable performance and output, and then it can send that to another system. So it's an idea of a lot of these interconnections. The analogy that I like to use when I'm explaining it to folks is at the dawn of laptop eras, so to speak, everything had to be plug and play, right? Plug and play was a standard that was developed by the electronics industry that you could attach all these peripheral devices to your computer, the mouse, the camera.
Yeah, sure. So there are agents that are great for very narrow task. We have to be very careful about how we do it, how we use them, but there are some great examples being shared out there. A lot of independent and personal use. At the company level, it's in progress. There are a lot of ideas and ambitions to bring together systems of agents working together. So it's the idea of orchestrating a big swarm of agents. That is the idea. The risk and security is something that's being worked on. So we're still
right? Accelerates data gathering and analysis, but autonomously accesses these sources. And so you could start getting much deeper information because you're monitoring more than the typical 40 sources of a large language model. It might go up to 400. I've actually seen a case where for medical research, it's being used now to look at rare diseases. It's being used to do molecule development. And all that research is being driven through agentic AI. And then workflow, this is probably the biggest potential, but it's also the hardest to grasp, is that workflow orchestration and the ability to process complex workflows across multiple systems, from ERP to CRM to your marketing automation, all those different elements can be orchestrated much more efficiently through agentic AI and optimizing the processes. So lead generation. Some of my colleagues who are on this call, we've been looking at an AI tool for lead gen, which is actually an amazing thing. If you go back to what lead gen used to be, you would subscribe to Dun& Bradstreet or Hoover's, and you would get some background intelligence, opposition research on a company, who the key contacts are in that company, what their strength, your SWOT analysis, all that stuff, right? That's all your prep before you make a phone call. With the new AI tools that are out there, it's doing all that for you. It's coming back with a polished report, says, here's who you need to reach out to, and here's your strategy. It's actually not only giving you the raw information, but it's actually making a suggestion of how to achieve the sale. And those are things that are really, really starting to come of age. Rick Lindbergh, go ahead. Ask your question.
He was asking about injecting personality into the agents. And so I'll pick that one up.
Yeah, take it, Sean.
This is really about, large language models are an aggregate of all the information. So it kind of comes out, it can come back with a generic sounding response if you're using it for communications or in the interaction UX of the experience that it's performing. Personality would be a way that we're advising, maybe brands or companies to express their vision, their values, where they stand, how they want to express themselves in the market. If they have a fun personality, a serious one, financial type, or medical, you want to get to the point. But it's just starting to wrap some. When we say personality, that's just more emotional tuning. And so, how does it respond to people? And then what kind of decisions does it make on behalf of the company and on behalf of the user?
Exactly. And some of the prompt engineering that you can use is, in the style of Rodney Dangerfield, if you wanted to have, I don't get no respect, right? You could make it quirky. You can be very funny about it. You can be very serious. You can model it after the written works of, Robert Frost. You can model, there's many different ways to go about this and injecting the personality. We obviously would caution you that, listen, adapting something, you might get something that you less than desirable, but you can develop it. And you can also be more generic about it and say, you know what, add a sense of humor to some of these answers, or where appropriate, add a sense of humor. And those prompts are things that you can test and train your model on. I see Michael Gales has his hand up, so we'll call on him.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, so initially, you were saying, hey, we want what we're asking these agents to do to be very straightforward. But as we talk, it sounds more and more complex. So, are we talking about like setting up a series of if-thens? If the agent runs into this, please do that for me. Um, how should I
Not
think
if
about that?
remember, the agent is the lowest common denominator. So the agent, you want to do a repetitive task, right? So it's going to do a repeating task. You're not going to say if you get this, then do that. You might have an if else in there for basic training. Like again, let's pick on frequently asked questions. I'd like to order this part. I'm sorry, we don't have that in stock. Can I suggest another? That's a perfect if else, right? You can train the agent to do that. You can't train the agent to say, hey, I'd like to order this part. I'm sorry, I don't have that stock. I don't have that part. Can I refer you somewhere else? Right? Can I give you something else, like in giving it another task? Oh, I don't want to talk about that part anymore. Now I want to like do something completely different. That's not what the agent will do. That's more of the LLM, the larger. The agent is just going to say, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? That makes sense?
Hmm.
It's focused, but
Hmm.
you have a lot of agents across your workflow. So you have to really map it out and say, this is the common element that I'm going to have as a repeatable agent. And then that agent needs to collaborate with five other agents that I've just designed into the system.
I see. Thank
Right.
you.
So in small and mid-sized businesses, which is really where we're focused these days, is agentic AI and e-commerce. They are using it for autonomous chatbots to handle the customer queries, improve efficiency and satisfaction with minimum human input. Where's my package, right? When did it ship? The box is damaged. What are the things that I need to do? Those are good examples of AI being used in small, mid-sized businesses. Obviously, it's also being used in research. And we just talked about how to manage these data intensive tasks, accelerating the discovery and enhancing decision making.